Are you racing your jiu-jitsu race with an F1 team behind you, or are you solo stuck on the side of the road in a broken down Tarago? This is a question because martial arts is a solo pursuit, but you need a coach. You need training partners. You need a team. You need support to be successful in BJJ and any other martial arts pursuit. Even though it's solo, you need a team. And we need to talk about a different kind of team that's going to make sure you stay in the jiu-jitsu game.
Just on that team thing, is there a little bit of a, there's maybe a little bit of a romance in jiu-jitsu about doing it like the lone wolf?
The Ronin.
Yeah, yeah.
The solo samurai.
Yeah.
On
like,
a
you know,
quest.
you know, and of course, like maybe Craig Jones had a bit of that in his story. No, I mean, he didn't actually, right? He had coaches, but from what you see and what people probably know, it can appear as though, like he was kind of a lone guy fighting against the big team.
No, I think that's a misconception. I mean, I don't even buy that in any way, shape, or form. I think Craig.
No. I'm saying that there is. I'm not saying that that's actually what happened, but I'm saying that maybe that's part of the story a little bit.
Maybe. I think if we look at the history of martial arts, that yes, you could get someone like Miyamoto Musashi, who was like, I depend on me, I depend on no one else, whatever. He still had military training, right? He's still, like, even though he was like an odyssey in himself, he still trained in the military, and then he formed his own conclusions. He did a bunch of self-reliance stuff. But when it comes to BJJ, you need training partners. You can't just kill everyone you meet. Yeah. Like, you're not going to get a lot better that way. And if we look at not even the importance of your lineage, you still need someone who knows you to know how to help you. As much as you can be independent and form your own ideas, everybody needs a bit of feedback. So step one is like having a coach, right? Like, that's so important. And we accept that, I think, in jiu-jitsu. It's accepted that you need somebody who you learn from, and that might change over time, but you don't come into the game knowing everything. And even though you might learn really quickly, and your coaches may evolve, you might start with your coach and then you might go train at a bigger team, you travel internationally. Like, you learn from everyone you train with, but essentially you can't develop as an individual without opponents and training partners.
Yeah.
So it's very accepted that you've got a coach, you've got training partners you work with. And when we look at the concentrations of teams, whether it be New Wave or it be Atos or B Team or Absolute MMA or whatever your chosen concentration of martial artists is, having good people around you helps you in a lot of ways because it shortcuts a lot of learnings.
Yeah.
And so we know that. But now the team we're going to talk about right here isn't necessarily just your martial arts team, the trainer, etc. We're talking about, do you have a personal trainer? Because we know there's people out there that have S&C coaches. And the elite level jiu-jitsu athletes like Andy Murasaki or, I mean, even the B-team guys.
Who's Andy Murasaki?
Andy Murasaki, actually, I think he might have got silver at the recent Worlds Championships. He is one of the top level black belts in the world who has an elite level strength conditioning coach and does elite level strength conditioning shit.
Ah, right on.
Like, we look at the Atos guys, right? They got Alex from
Alex
Electron.
Turner.
Yeah. And so when you don't know what to do, but you want to get good at something, you need help, you know? And then this is what we do, right? If you, like for me, I'm not a handy guy. I'll be completely honest. As much as I like to think that I could pick up some tools and fix some shit, if I can pay someone to do it, I will, because I don't want to fuck around and waste time. I also don't want to flood my kitchen, break my car. Like, I really, in those realms of my life, I don't want to fuck around and find out. I want to find someone who knows and get help because it saves me time, right? I don't want to waste time. And I think this is where, you know, getting a personal trainer, finding a physio who can help you with your injuries, finding a doctor who gets jiu-jitsu, like they're not going to misdiagnose your staph infection as a spider bite and you end up with medical resistant staph. Like, I think it's so important to find people who are your allies that help keep you on the track of jiu-jitsu. And you've gone through a process of, even though we both have contacts in the health and fitness industry, Joe, you've had to work through your own process of finding appropriate people to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You always like, it comes out of necessity, doesn't it? When you cop an injury or you've got something that is not immediately resolved. Like you go to a doctor and they tell you like, fuck, that didn't help. And you go to a physio and that didn't help. And so you start to realize, man, I really need someone that just knows what I do.
They get it.
And, is like with it. And yeah, like there's a lot, right, that you're looking for. But when you find that person, you're like, that's exactly who I'm looking for.
My guy.
And I'm going to keep that person close.
Yeah. And this is the thing that is probably not spoken about enough in jiu-jitsu is that you do need more than one person. Like as much as you might have someone who's super reliable, your kind of go-to best mate with the advice, whether it be, like we all have someone who's like really good at technology. So you got a mate and you're like, man, I've got this problem with my laptop, whatever. It's like, oh, it's easy. You just do this. Or you got a mate who's really good at cars, just obsessed with cars. So you're like, can you have a look? What the fuck's going on here? He's like, so having someone who is very reliable, understands jiu-jitsu and can help you is going to save you a lot of time when you break down. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is I'm not really a fan of F1, but I was admiring the efficiency of an F1 team to get a car back on track. So this guy's tire blew out, he pulls in, and within, I think, 15 seconds, this guy is sorted and back on the track that fast. And honestly,
pretty wild.
Yeah, you're like, how's that possible? They got 20 guys going nuts, making sure everything's perfect, and there's millions of dollars there. But jiu-jitsu is the same, and you have a limited amount of time in the game in jiu-jitsu. So how much time you spend stuck on the side of the fucking highway with no help will limit how much time you spend back on the road.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean those instances when you don't have the team for the specific problem, right? Like you don't have someone to go and see about your bad shoulder. It costs you weeks, months of suffering, pain and shitty training and frustration because you're like, I went and saw someone, but they weren't very helpful and trained to, it's just this whole, whereas when you got that person, you go there the next day, you get the information you need and you're on track. On track makes you understand where this terminology comes from, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, it does.
But it really is invaluable. And I think it's only when you're faced with the dilemma of, oh my God, I actually don't know who to go and see about this, right? That you really come to appreciate, I wish I could like not be stuck in this fucking dilemma.
Yeah. And look, the reason why I talk about this is because I've made all the mistakes. I'm not saying this because, I'm so superior, I've got it all worked out. The amount of time I've wasted in a situation because I didn't know better, it makes me cringe now. So I've been that person broken down on the side of the highway, didn't have a spare tire or it wasn't pumped up or I didn't know what was wrong with my car. But how good is it when you've paid for the insurance to have the roadside assistance? They come, they show up, they fix it for you, they tell you what's up and you're back on the road. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's great.
I'm back in the race, baby.
Back. And so just burnouts in the Tarago.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about this idea of being broken down. Obviously, you don't stop living your life. You're not just parked. You're parked in terms of you can't do jiu-jitsu, but you're still battling along with the flat tire in life. But this makes your experience of life way more miserable.
Yeah.
Like I think this is the thing that we underestimate, that injury you cop at jiu-jitsu turns into like kind of downgrading the goodness in the experience of life off the mat.
Yeah.
And we just don't really realize what that costs us in terms of just happiness.
We're our own worst enemy with that shit too. Like I had the conversation with my lady the other day where, she's had this ongoing kind of shoulder pain and it gets, it comes up quite often and, it's like, how's it going? It's a little bit better today. Not so great today. And I was like, what were you doing at the gym? She's like, working on some shit and working on some muscle ups and stuff. And I was like, how many of those are you doing? She's like, like singles. And I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, you got a shoulder. But she's like, but why? Like, it's like, and I'm like, well, all right. And so I threw the book at her. I was like, it's end range shoulder extension. It is maximal loading. It's loading. You're going into a passive position under full load. Yeah, I'm just like, it's basically all of the things you shouldn't be doing when you have an injury in that particular joint. And, you know, I think she's a bit just kind of spewing that. It's like, oh, why do we have to have this conversation? But,
jeez, man.
But you know, but if we step back from it, it's like weeks, maybe months of talking about it. So months where it's been a thing.
Yeah.
Months where in training, it's been on her mind. It's been affecting the quality of the training session.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm hoping that this is talking to you grapplers out there that you're like, yep, I'm on the mats, I'm rolling, and I'm telling my partner, oh, my shoulder's still, oh, my knee's still a bit, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if you just went and did something about it, like found that person, paid them $120, got an assessment, got some exercises, started doing them, this is all gone. And you're just on the road to recovery.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not spending months on like subpar training sessions and frustration.
And just feeling like shit.
You're trying to get stronger for jiu-jitsu and you're not sure how. We've got the thing for you. It's the Bulletproof for BJJ app. Now, the cool thing about the app is we update the programs. That's right. And we've got some new programs dropping real soon, and we want to get you in there. The great thing is you get a 14-day free trial. So you can get in there, play around, have a feel. And here's the deal. If you don't like it, we have a 100% money back guarantee. So you have nothing to lose. Get on the free trial. Go to the App Store or the Play Store, download the app, take the 14-day free trial, and we will see you in there.
Like, why would you... No one, I think none of us, if someone gave you the option, they're like, look, you're going to feel like shit for 6 months. You're going to be in pain and your jiu-jitsu is going to suck. Or you can spend a bit of money, take a bit of time, a little bit of discomfort in the short term, but you're back on the mats in 2 months and you feel great.
Yeah.
Which would you choose? Now, I'm the person who I before being kind of a broke-ass jiu-jitsu athlete, didn't pay money for the, you know how you get the wheelbarrow, we talk about the wheelbarrow wheel, like when you've got you got a spare tire, but it's this little don't go over.
Oh, the cheese cutter.
The cheese cutter wheel.
Yeah.
And you just like, you even feel your car's on a bit of a slant when you're driving. Like, so having gone through that experience and it being very immature in my approach to car maintenance, all that shit, now being an adult and having gone through the fuckery and being like, nah, actually, I'm going to pay the extra money to have a proper extra tire. It is pumped. I've paid for the best tires. I pay the premium on the roadside assistance so that if I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere, I can get towed, 100 kilometers and it doesn't cost me anything. Like, by investing in the assistance, I've saved myself so much stress when the shit goes down.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We don't really realize how fucked it can get until the shit goes down, and we want you to be prepared. Like, not only do we want you to improve your experience of jiu-jitsu and life and bouncing back, getting back on track, but it's also like, we don't want anyone to be stuck in that shit spot. You regularly see it. And what the good thing is about being prepared is you're not as shocked when it happens. But when you're not prepared, it's catastrophic.
Yeah.
Like you're really in town. And so give an example. When I was a teenager, we moved to Dubbo and we had hired a truck to pull our stuff in there.
Why'd you move there, by the way?
My mum got a job as a course coordinator for TAFE. It was like a very senior position, really good for her career. And so we moved out to Dubbo. That was informative.
How old were you?
I was 14.
Right on. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
bro. It was a tough time. City kid. When I say city, Penrith, Western Sydney kid, living in the country, mate. It was a harsh adjustment.
Yeah, wow.
I definitely had to bite down a little bit. I got in more fights in that 1 year than any other time in my teenage life.
Oh, wow.
I got punched in the face so much.
Wow.
Right. It was wild. I probably end up like 140 detentions for fighting.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I didn't even start them. If you talk too much, you get punched in the face.
Were you a big talker back then?
I was. You were hard to imagine, but I talk less now than I
probably
used to.
deserve some of those punches.
Maybe some, maybe some, but right. Like I was just trying to make friends.
Yeah, wow.
On the weekend, I went to the movies. No, you didn't. You was big note.
Shut fuck it, bang.
Bang. Yeah, basically, yeah, dude.
Oh,
and I'm
it's
just
rough.
defending myself. It was a tough time, but it definitely helped open my eyes up and close my mouth. But so what happened was the hire truck had retread. So this is when the truck company's like, oh, we don't want to buy new tires.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just glue on this tread. And the retread had worn thin and it whipped off and pulled the mud flap, steel mud flap, into the tire.
Ooh.
And so it was a double tire. It was like a big truck moving all our stuff. And I was like, holy fuck, like, it was just me and my mum, and my dad and my sisters were in the Tarago van with all of our shit in that. And
You were like following the truck.
yeah, so they were behind us somewhat, and I was like, fuck, we're a bit stuck here. Anyway, my dad had shown me how to change a tire, and I'm like, well, like it's just a bigger, harder version of that, right? So I'm just like trying to lever this steel fucking mud flap out and trying to
You're changing a truck tire.
changing a truck tire
Right on.
with this crazy jack.
Yeah.
Like this crazy jack that I had to crank for like half an hour to get it high enough. But then this elderly couple came. They just pulled up. They're like, oh, you in a spot of bother? And we're like, yeah. They're like, okay. And they like pulled out these little witches hats. They had a picnic basket. They made my mum a cup of tea. Like, they had a little thermos and shit. They had a little fold-out chair. They were just like, I think they were even older than boomers. I think my parents are boomers. Like, whatever the greatest generation was, that's who they are, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they fought World War II. They were so prepared, bro. So something that was a very stressful situation. It was still kind of stressful for me, but my mum was like pulled up in the camper chair, cup of tea. They gave her a sandwich and shit. And I was like, wow. But I was like, I'll take a snack. Anyway, got this tire off, got another tire on. Like, I was actually able to change the tire because my dad showed me how. And if no one's ever showed you how, you are
Yeah.
But the benefit, I think, in what we do, Joe, in terms of like Bulletproof is not only are we going to pull up on the side of the road and give you a sandwich and, you know, help you out and make you feel better about being in a bad spot, we teach you to fix your own tire.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, for the best part, not everyone's got the money and, you know, not everyone's got the resources to have a full team. You have to become your own team. And so in so doing, you do need to learn about how to rehab your knee. You do have to learn about what are the right stretches. You do have to learn about these different ways of maintaining yourself. So even though it might take an initial investment to train with a trainer and learn the techniques or whatever else like that, you do have to become quite self-sufficient as a jiu-jitsu person. So if you don't, because there's many people out there like, I don't have money for that. That's $150. But in the long term, it saves you money by investing on learning how to look after your shit. I think that's also another element of this idea of team. When you become more capable, when catastrophe strikes, you can deal with it a bit more. Even though it does help to have folks giving you advice and kind of coming in to help make the experience less traumatic, ultimately it will be you who has to do the rehab. It will be you who has to do the stretches. It will be you who has to look after yourself on the advice of these team members.
Yeah, your team allows you to build up your base of knowledge about how to look after yourself. And it's quite incredible after even for folks who have been grappling for a few years and copped a couple of injuries, they can probably think back to maybe how much they didn't know about injuries and rehab and stuff prior to doing jiu-jitsu. And now they've been through that, like, oh, actually, yeah, I did learn something when I went through that whole shoulder thing last year. So yeah, those sort of having those allies helps you to become a smarter operator in this realm of athleticism where injury is just a part of the thing.
For sure. And so knowing that your time is limited, you need to stay on track to get the most out of your jiu-jitsu. You do need help. You do need to learn more. And really, by doing that, you're controlling the controllables, and that means you can have a better time on the mat.